So every single day, my values will be keeping active, getting moving, and I will portray that onto my clients as well. And it becomes a part of you. And I couldn't even see a day without me getting my steps in, going to grab my coffee. Like, it's just, these things are important to me. And if I don't hit them every single day, then I feel like I haven't achieved something that day, if it makes sense. So.
Hello wonderful people, how's it going? It's Will here, and today we are in conversation with Sam Bowen. Now, Sam Bowen is someone who has had his own personal training company since 2011, and ever since then he has been inspiring people to get active. But something that has always stood out to me, since following you certainly over the last, I would say about year and a half or so, is just the positivity. You radiate it, and for me it's been so inspiring to just see the content that's come out of that, and also the things that you're able to do for your clients. So connected into the beauty of well-being, it really felt like I needed to have a conversation with you. So Sam, thank you so much for joining me.
What an intro.
Whoa.
What an intro,
Hey,
honestly, mate.
Hey, I'm here for you.
Hey, you are, mate. You are.
It's special stuff.
Thanks for having me on. Really pleasure to be here, mate.
No, honestly, I really appreciate you coming, and I'm just glad that we're actually able to have this conversation face to face. Because again, similar with how it was with Lewis or MacFit, the person that was on very first time around. Shout out to MacFit. I don't get to meet people in some scenarios before I have these conversations, and it's the same here. And before we even got started, we were already on an absolute trainer conversation. So I have absolutely no doubt that we're going to have such a fantastic conversation. Oh man, I'm confident. I am confident. So, typically a classic starting point when we're going into these conversations is to think about, how did you become a personal trainer? But from my perspective this time round, I'm more interested in finding out, why are you thankful? Why are you grateful that you became a personal trainer?
It's nice to find a job that you love and you can do every single day and then not feel like work. That's the main thing. And it's taught me so much about myself. Like, just to get that fulfillment, knowing you're positively impacting a lot of people's lives, is nothing better, mate. And yeah, I wouldn't change my job for the world. I really wouldn't.
It's been so fantastic to see, because again, it's pretty surreal that you've been going since 2011. Really,
you've
been in there for quite some time.
10 years this year. Can't believe it. Decade.
Man, how incredible! It's crazy, and especially with all the changes that have happened in sort of the field itself. And that is actually quite a nice thing to maybe look at, is that because you've been in this for so long.
Yeah.
How have you perceived that the world of personal training has changed over the time that you've been a personal trainer?
I think when you go into the personal training kind of industry, you think in your head that it's, how can I deliver the most grueling sessions ever? And then the client walks out of it feeling like absolutely wiped out. But it's not like that at all. As you go through your career, you figure out so much about yourself, what works, what session works, what movements work. And you end up finding out that the most simplest exercises are the most effective. And that's what I find out about PT, is that nothing needs to have a sexy name. Nothing needs to be over complicated. You just need to learn the basics, trial and error, and just keep repeating that. And repetition will always win.
Man, especially around the world of basics. And to be honest, it's something that I'm going to bring up a little bit later on down the line. Because again, it can be so easy to overcomplicate certain aspects. And I imagine, and certainly from just the perspective of teaching, actually, in some regard anyway, how I share this is that when you first start out as a trainee, you're always thinking, right, okay, what is this absolutely mind-blowing, creative, off the scale thing that I can come up with to teach a concept to someone? But then actually out of nowhere, truly, it's that the further you go into it, the more you're like, actually, it is all about those fundamentals. If you're hitting those right, you're absolutely nailing it.
It's completely true. Like, if something won't sell unless it's got some sort of sexy name, we're going to get to it. I think with the fad question you're going to ask me, if it's not got a fancy name, people don't buy into it, because you buy into an image. But once you learn that you don't need to overwork yourself, you don't need to walk out of every session feeling like wiped out, I can't walk, I have the worst aches afterwards, worst pains, and that your recovery rate is going to be a lot higher, then that's where your results will escalate and come back to you tenfold, which is the most important thing. You don't need to overcomplicate anything. Just learn the basics with everything in life. Learn the basics.
Yeah, and I imagine just sort of alongside just your natural progression as a PT and your ability to help others. I imagine there's been so many aspects of that have fallen across into what you as an individual are able to do with yourself. So, from your perspective then, how do you see health and living a healthy lifestyle sort of fit in with who you are as an individual?
Because I know, as you a part of your identity, what makes you feel good, what keeps your head in a good place. Like health and fitness is paramount to keeping you in a good place. So every single day my values will be keeping active, getting moving, and I'll portray that onto my clients as well, and it becomes a part of you. And I couldn't even see a day without me getting my steps in, going to grab my coffee. Like, it's just, these things are important to me, and if I don't hit them every single day, then I feel like I haven't achieved something that day, if it makes sense. So
well, I mean, I don't know whether it was that actually when you had COVID or very, very recently. I think I saw a story somewhere where you're even powering through and just getting the 10,000 steps in the garden or something like that.
I don't know what I was trying to prove a point to, honestly. I really didn't. So I was like, all right, I'm going to get 10k steps in my house, walking up and down my pathway, up and down my stairs at home. Woke up Tuesday morning after that, I was like, you twat.
I literally couldn't even exist as a human being.
10,000 steps in the house is ridiculous. Like, I was like paced up and down. Luckily I got a 3-story house. Yeah. So, but I was just knackered, and I'm like, you an idiot.
Even adding in the steps as well, like the actual staircase.
I wouldn't tell nobody else to do this. I thought, who are you trying to prove a point to?
Yeah.
That's just being me, mate. That's
but I mean, at the same time, I think that is sort of like connected into, I know maybe he might have been slightly influenced by something else, but I think coming back to the core of it. I think it's just in my DNA, mate, what it is, Yeah, exactly. It's that, you've really built that routine of hitting those 10k steps, and it's so surreal that even like in your moments where you feel
I only did that for one day though. That's it. I was like, you're an idiot, don't do it again.
I mean, wise move, but at least it's still well, I suppose it actually works both ways. It's that it shows that you were, even though you were not in like your absolute fine form, you were still actually quite keen to try and do something like that. But then at the same time, you've also learned to be able to listen to your body, and the next day round you were like...
Day one I was like, okay, you've got 10 days now to do all the things that you don't get time to do while you're at work, still get your steps in, blah, 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 blah. And day two after hitting my steps, I was like, you just need to rest. You're never going to get this time to be forced to slow down, rest, recover. I was like, just chill, just nap. I love a nap.
Yeah. How you feeling now though, man?
Feel fine, feel brand new. Wipes you out, but feel brand new, you're fine. Yeah. Just nap, mate.
Nap and sleep.
Nap is a fundamental part of my identity as well.
Well, I wish I had more sleep.
Honestly, I journal it in 2 to 4 every single day.
Yeah?
Yeah, got it. I wake up feeling productive like anything, or sometimes you can wake up and it's like Russian roulette. You never know how you're going to feel, but naps are my friend. So
I can appreciate that. And again, with just everything that you, certainly from what I've seen of you, even through that window of time, because again, I follow you on Instagram, and if you don't already, you do definitely need to go and do that, because it's fantastic.
If you want some stupid videos, come and follow me.
Man, but I do. Hey, I'm a sucker for it. I love it.
Waffling into the camera 24/7.
But again, it's but sort of connected into that. It's just the fact that you are such a positive, happy individual, and it's so great that that is what you are trying to put across to other people, because again, even in the real short window of time that I was meeting you here and the conversations that we've had, that's not just a for the camera type thing. That's like who you are as an individual.
That's the thing about social media. It's a massive highlight reel. So many people are trying to portray themselves as something that they're not, and then sooner or later you're going to get found out. So just be yourself, be authentic. Like, what you see on a camera is what you see when you see me face to face. Like, I'm no different. So just be authentic, be yourself, because it'll come back to you in ways you could never imagine, and people will thank you for it. People will appreciate you being yourself, and then they know the real you. Because if they come to work with you, say for example, if a client DMs me on Instagram, potential client, they already know what they're getting themselves into beforehand, because I'm no different from what I am face to face as I am on socials, on Instagram. So you just got to be yourself like all the time, and don't care what other people think. And the people who are meant to be with you along the journey, people you're meant to work with, will come with you the whole way. You're not going to be for everyone, but it's all right. Doesn't matter.
You can't be for everyone. Nah. But I mean, it's so good to hear that your approach to personal training is that you're remaining authentic, you're remaining that positive individual. But certainly from what I've seen on certain occasions, is that isn't the only way that PTs go about dealing with the situation. So again, from someone that's had quite a number of experiences and probably has worked in a number of different gyms, How do you feel, maybe the approach that you're taking fares up to maybe those that are, I mean, it can be so varied, but maybe let's just say a little bit more aggressive, a little bit more out there. How do you think it fares up?
What I always say to my clients, to people who want to potentially work with me, is your fitness just needs to be a little part of your life that makes you happy, a small element that makes you happy. It shouldn't take over your life. So you need to find that balance. Like Monday to Friday, work's like not like a 9 to 5, but you put the groundwork in, you train when you can, you fit it around your lifestyle. But if life takes over, that's not the end of the world. And life should be about living how you want to live and making the things that make you happy small elements of your day-to-day lifestyle. And fitness should be a part of that, but it shouldn't take over your life. End of the day, there's so many other things that should be making you happy, and it's not for me going down that approach of your life is just about fitness, because there's more to life than just that. Yeah. Otherwise, your mental health is going to take a battering in the long run.
Yeah. I mean, because again, I've seen so many different approaches to personal training, and certainly, coming from someone who is also going to actually go down the route of becoming a personal trainer, and I must admit, at the same time, I have genuinely taken inspiration from yourself, from Lewis, a girl who runs Reach Your Potential Fitness. It's another fantastic. I mean,
Holly, isn't it?
Yeah. There's so many fantastic people, and it's all that same approach. You all have very similar mentalities. It's not about making excuses to say, but it's about recognizing that fitness is a part of your lifestyle. It's not your actual life.
And as a PT, you need to find your own identity and how you want to coach people. And if everyone was having the same approach, and wow, God, the world would be so boring. If everyone liked the same thing, if everyone had the same methods, and how boring would that be? You know what I mean? So you've got to find what works for you, and then the approach that you take will attract the clients that you want to work with. And then, like I said, they know what you're getting. They know what they're getting themselves into. I know who I want to work with. And someone said to me, for example, I want to do competition prep, go on stage. I'm like, I'm not the coach for you. And it's a good thing when you can say that. It's being like, actually, because you now know who you want to work with. And to any up and coming PT like yourself, just maybe figure out, I know we spoke beforehand, but it's good to find like a target market who you want to work with. Something I didn't know when I first started PT. You're taking on so many different clients with different goals and different aspects, and you get so jumbled up in this trying to please everyone and not knowing what you want to do as a coach. So figure out who you want to train, your audience, and who you want to talk to. That's my main kind of advice. But anyone up and coming as a PT, definitely.
Yeah. So I mean, touching on the process of getting your clients in, typically it's that it will lead with some form of conversation, or it might lead with some form of questionnaire. Beyond like the classic, because in any introduction or any sort of maybe survey into seeing whether someone's right for you, there's the classic questions. But when you're actually beginning the process of actually deciding whether this person is right for you, and that you are right for them, do you pose any questions that really sort of gets them to reflect in a way that actually makes them look at the lifestyle that they're doing, or maybe the approach that they're going to take to fitness?
You have to, for me anyway, you always have to look at outside aspects, potential outside interferences that may affect that client getting a result. So I always ask them, how are you? How's life outside of fitness? What's your work like? What's your lifestyle like? How many hours have you got to dedicate yourself to this? Blah, blah, blah. What's family? You know what I mean? It's so many, you can't ever overlook outside interference for a client when eliciting a result. So you have to look at the psychology, what's going on in the background. You can't overlook that, because life happens and it's always going to get in the way. And I feel like a lot of, not anyone in particular, but I feel like a lot of PTs may overlook that and be like, no, you need to get this done, blah, 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 without actually thinking, maybe I've got to look at it from their perspective. Maybe something's going on in the background. So you need to get to know the client like in every area before you take them on, I find, because you don't know what's going to stop them from getting a result or not.
Yeah, and I think that with personal trainers is that, yes, obviously you are orientated around improving their physical fitness and their nutrition in some regard, but actually your involvement in their life is actually is much larger. It's almost life coach orientated, where, as you say, if you
become
don't,
like a therapist, mate. Yeah. But it's something that you need to like be prepared to undertake, because clients are going to come to you with issues, with problems, and and if you're a good enough coach, and if you care, if you give a shit, that like you want to help them along that way. You're going to want to help them with everything, and not just their fitness. And it comes with a package in the day.
Yeah.
If you're putting out that value and you're telling people that you want to be with them every step of the way, be prepared to get some questions or some problems come up that you didn't know you had to deal with, but you deal with it, and that's when you learn about yourself as well.
Yeah, and with the personal training world, I think the more that you study it, and as we've just said there, the more you realise that you're involved in multiple aspects of their life. But focusing maybe more specifically around just the diet and the physical fitness aspect of things, have you found that actually there are certain things that have become overcomplicated just naturally through the process of there now being an almighty volume of information that's accessible to people?
I think, like I said beforehand, there's so many programs, platforms out there available that people got access to these days, and they will come to you, they'll market as in such a way that you have to buy it, because it's like, oh, they're selling you the dream at the end of the day, but they're overcomplicating, and it's usually like a monetizing agenda behind it. That's what I find. So you just have to really be careful what you buy into. I think we're going to get to a conversation about fads like, we might as well go to it now while I'm here.
Well, that's it. Well, to be honest, that was what I was going to actually ask next. Have you got any fads that just sort of...
Well, because people... Sexy names will sell. Okay, they'll see something. Oh, drop 8 pounds of belly fat in 10 days or whatever, or 8 weeks or whatever. People will be like, oh wow, that's me. I need that. But they will never understand the consequences of buying into that product, what it's going to do in the long run. Someone buying that has already got bad habits, already got bad lifestyle choices. You're now buying into something that's going to develop that even more, because you're going to get this quick fix. You're going to potentially lose all this weight. Well, when that product wears off and then you go back to eating normally or having normal lifestyle changes, you're going to put that weight back on again. You're going to go back into your bad habits. You're going to start to feel awful about yourself again. So I think you just need to stop looking at quick fixes, because the things that you're going to find out most about yourself is the whole journey. Become process driven rather than destination. That's what you've got to do. And the fads, they're destination driven. They're not process. The fun side is the whole process. You're getting strong, you're changing, you're developing habits, you're becoming more confident, you're getting happier. You're not going to get that with a fad. You're going to get that with the process of gradual, sustainable changes.
This is what I've definitely learnt the most since going through the process of revision, and also going through me making sure that I'm getting myself to the gym, 4 times a week, thinking about what I'm eating, is that you can't, and this is just the natural thing with a lot of programs, is that 12 weeks, this is where you're going to be at those 12 weeks, and yeah, you're going to be there at the end of these 12 weeks. And I can think of a particular individual who, after 12 weeks, was in the shape of their life. They were in absolutely insane shape. But as soon as those 12 weeks are done, it's not sustainable. You literally have to go, unless you're willing to either absolutely starve yourself, or you're willing to work out, an obscene amount of times a week. It's not something that then is carried over into future times. And actually, you should be looking much more on yearly plans and how far you can get, where you're going to be in 2-3 years time with your physical fitness and the quality of your nutrition.
What's the quote? Becoming is better than being. Like I said, you want to become this person. You don't want to eliminate the hard work process, because you're trying to jump ship before you've even started and kind of get this win without actually learning anything about yourself, what works for you, what doesn't work, what makes you happy, what doesn't make you happy, what process works, blah, 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 blah. And it's never going to be sustainable in the long run. And you're just going to, like I said, without you realising, you're affecting your mental health like so badly, because you'll be looking at that, oh, why do I not look like that anymore? Because you haven't done it in a way that's going to be sustainable and going to work for you. And that's a thing. Like, you need to just find out what works for you, and don't buy into anything that you see, and just make sure you're educating yourself before you undertake something. And but you're never going to find out what works for you unless you try it anyway.
So even in that regard, then, in relation to your own practice as an individual, how has maybe the types of exercises that you've prescribed maybe changed over the years? And then sort of a caveat to that Is there any particular exercises that you would choose to use with all of your clients?
You need to master. There's kind of 4 movements. For me, again, I didn't notice at the start, because at the start you just think I'm going to throw in any random exercises because it needs to be fun, it needs to be variable, you need to have all sorts of exercises. You don't even know what works yourself. But as you go through your career, you figure out you need to learn your push, your pull, your hip hinge, your squat. These are the basic movements that will help you move things better, help you move better, help you lift things up off the floor in the correct manner with, reducing the risk of injury. But no particular exercises, as long as you're hitting their movements, are going to be the most important. But also don't overlook bodyweight exercises. People don't think that bodyweight exercises are intense enough to get a result, when I'm like, well, the reason, mate, you're where you are at right now is because you're not doing that. So again, don't overlook the basics, always, with anything.
Man, I've realised that with pull-ups and then tricep dips
hard,
as well.
like,
they are obscene.
I could do about 5 pull-ups. Like, it's so difficult.
Exactly. You haven't got any
big old fat
additional
frame on me,
weight.
to be fair.
Well, I mean, man, sheer strength coming from that side of the room. So is there sort of in conjunction with that, is there a piece of equipment, beyond then the body weight exercises, that you think that everyone should try to have experience with or master in some way, shape or form?
Everyone needs to strength train at some point in their life. So get used to a barbell. Strength train, you're going to improve joint stability, you're going to burn calories, you're going to build muscle, you're going to build happiness, you're going to reduce the risk of injury. Everyone needs to strength train at some point of their life, because, like I said, you want to prolong your life as long as possible. And if your joints and your muscles aren't strong enough to be able to do that, then that's not going to happen. I always say to my clients, without being too abrupt, do you want to be able to walk in the future? Like, without having some assistance, without having a mobility scooter or something like that, you know what I mean? So strength training is a thing that you need to definitely focus on, 100%.
Yeah. I mean, it can play a role in so many aspects.
Everything.
And again, you change the weight, you change the tempo that you're going at, it's the exercise, it's hitting everything.
You're never going to be able to build the body that you desire without lifting some weights. It's not going to happen. You can do bodyweight exercises to learn, and then once you've learned that, what's the next level? Barbells, dumbbells, and then there's still an agenda behind, for example, females lifting weight. I done a post about it yesterday. The people always come to me, so like, I don't want to get big and bulky by lifting weight. I said, you're not going to, do you want to build the body the goals that you've come to me for? I want to develop an arse. I want to feel better about my legs, about my physique. That's not going to happen without you lifting weights or learning to engage the right muscles. So yeah, lift weights, definitely.
Lift weights. Now, again, certainly with the experience that I've had in the gym, it's, alongside lifting weights, the big thing with lifting weights is consistency. You've got to keep the reps going.
It makes you feel good too.
Oh, and it feels so great.
Yeah.
And, obviously, because we're looking at it from the perspective now of not even necessarily just the 12 weeks, but maybe going beyond that. For longevity.
Yeah.
What do you do within with your clients to ensure that, things are staying, interesting and fun, a little bit more varied, to make sure that they aren't sort of reaching that level of fatigue caused by doing something for so long?
Always include the basic fundamentals. Like I said, your push, your pull, your squat, your hip hinge movements. They'll always be the core part of the sessions, but there's so many different exercises that involve push, pull, legs and hip hinge. So it's about mixing it up on pretty much a weekly basis, but also just keeping track of what they're lifting, so they can go back to it and think, do you know what, I had that last week, I'm going to try and hit that. It's just logging what you're doing, so you can see 1% progress every time you do something, all the time.
Yeah, I mean, the concept...
progress-driven the whole time.
Progress-driven, for sure.
Yeah.
Again, it's a battle with the last week, and it's certainly it's something that I've taken on board. It's that, let's try and either lift a heavier weight, or let's try and increase the volume of what I've been doing at that particular weight, or make sure that my form or technique is just that bit better than the previous week.
Progress doesn't need to be just by lifting something heavier. It could be an extra rep. It could be, I've mastered that form, like you just said there. I've gone up in weight. That's something I didn't do beforehand. something that I was finding so hard beforehand, now it's just becoming natural to me. That's progress, and progress comes in all forms.
Yeah,
in all forms.
In relation to progress, obviously, you know, you do quite a lot of work with specific individuals face to face, but you know, the world of technology has changed now, and you've got more access to a variety of different things, and you also actually have access to sort of basically your own app-based content. You know, how has the world of technology changed your ability to be a personal trainer and actually support your clients?
Oh, it's amazing. For example, the app, I'm always trying to find ways I can deliver better value to my clients, to anyone who wants to work with me. So with an app-based product, you've got so many tools at your disposal that are going to help a client get to where they want to be. And then you've got social media. It just allows me to portray who I am as a coach, find out more about myself, create an identity for myself so that people can understand what they're getting themselves into and if they want to work with me or not. And social media has been the most important tool for that ever. But as soon as you break past that point of not caring what people think about you and just be yourself, it opens up a whole new can of worms. It does. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, again, we'll come on to social media in a little bit, because again, your particular platform, and I've already said to you, I absolutely love it. And as you say, you can do quite a lot with that. And it's great now that you've become, it's a multifaceted experience, because you've got physical experience being with the particular individual. You've then got the use of your app. You've also got then the use of your social media. And in relation to your sort of the conversations that you're able to have with your clients, whether that be face to face or whether that be through technology, you know, what small things have you been suggesting to them on a consistent basis that they can change about their lifestyle or the way they go about things that, you know, has a really positive impact on you know, their life or experience of exercise?
I feel like a lot of people will overlook so many things that are so easy for them to be accessible to elicit a better mental health. So get outside more, make sure you're going for walks, making sure you're trying to be active all the time without you realising you're being active. Just little things like that, you know, walk to work, bike to work, something. These little things will just take your mental health to another level if you're doing them consistently. Like I said, don't overlook, we always talk about it, but the basic fundamentals. People, you know, think that they need to have some sort of magic formula to help get their head in a good place, when really they just need to focus on the small things that, you know, that they tend to overlook all the time.
Well, always what resonates with me when I listen to you talk, whether that be again on social media or whether that's just through the conversations that we have, is that again, you're able to portray a perception of something really, really well. I think you articulate a point really well. And something that I picked up on was when you did a podcast with your friend, focused around Mindset Matters was the name of the podcast. And again, focused around mental health and also just some general aspects of the PT world. Again, and again, if you haven't watched it, it's about 30 minutes long, and you can get it on a
little snippet.
Yeah, you can get it on iTunes and stuff. So you know, it's if you're walking somewhere, it's a classic. Smash it on. It's worth your time for sure.
Feeding my ego over.
Oh, you know, just watching that head, you know, grow as we go through. But no, it was a really, really good conversation, and I loved it because again, it emphasises that you are really connecting what you're doing with you know, the exercise and the nutrition in relation to mental health as well. So I mean, I think you made a couple of suggestions just a minute ago, but with your clients, or maybe in relation to someone who maybe isn't even someone who's orientated around fitness in some way, you know, do you have any particular things around mental health that you always make as suggestions to an individual that maybe is either struggling or who want to improve, you know, the state of their mental health?
I don't think people need to be particularly, they don't need to be in the gym to get a result. Like I said, the gym isn't everything. There's so many other ways you can stay active that are going to better your mental state. Try and find something, I always say, alongside your daily routine that you can do for escapism. For example, find another hobby, get active, try something new. These things will feel like you're breaking away from your day-to-day kind of hustle, and you could do something along the side. But just get outside, like to go and see the little things. These are going to help massively. Don't overlook you know, healthy eating, exercise. Just try and be as active as you possibly can, because you get so caught up in this kind of sluggish mental state otherwise. Yeah.
Well, that sort of actually ties in quite nicely with something that you do as an individual, where you I know you're a keen biker, so you often you'll go down trails and you'll do whatever. And also, I've spotted recently that you have also started going hiking as well, which is fantastic.
And the boys love that.
Well, I mean, the photos are always a classic. And you know, with that, I see that as sort of more recreational activity. It's something that, you know, unless you're maybe driven to be someone who wants to do biking for a bit more long term, but I see it certainly more recreational. And from your perspective, why do you think it is quite important to keep that balance of, you know, maybe driven goals of you know, exercise orientated things, but also then having the recreational activity side of things?
Life is about adventure at the end of the day. Like, we get so caught up on focusing on something that's going to get us to the next level and then we always overlook to actually be present and live along the side. So again, falls into what I said a minute ago. Like, I think you should have your work, then you need something that you can have some sort of escapism, something that you can just do that you can make you forget about your day-to-day activities, and then you can seek happiness with. Like hiking, the outdoors, something that's kept me literally in the most incredible place since lockdown, because lockdown has made me fall in love with the outdoors, because, you know, that's all we had, you know, and it's found a side to me that I never knew I had. It's broken me away from, you know, day-to-day habits and made me really, really find another love in something else. So have something along the sides of your day-to-day activities, your day-to-day work, that you can find enjoyment in.
And that is, for me, it's certainly coming from the background of a PE teacher, someone that just loves physical activity. You know, yes, it's great to use physical activity, fitness, sport to accomplish goals, but, you know, it doesn't need to be that. It doesn't have to exist in that particular frame all the time. No. You know, and as you've said, the impact of just going hiking with some friends, if you think specifically around your social health, you know, beyond anything, you know, even your physical or your mental, but that social health, being with other people or just being in the outdoors, it can have such a massive impact on an individual. And, you know, I'm someone who also loves being outdoors. My dad being northern, I spent a lot of time up in the Lake District. But if I sort of
we
bring
went there this year, it's amazing.
Man,
never seen anything like it, honestly.
You don't think you're in England? No. Literally, I've never been like that to anywhere like that in England.
I think that's what's been a good thing about this year and past year, is that it's made you realise that you don't need to travel abroad to see some amazing scenery, some amazing outdoor spaces. Like, everything's in your back garden. Like, literally, go and explore, and it's I
definitely found that with Cambridge, because again, I haven't lived here for ages and ages. I've been here for a while, but not a massive amount of time. But if you just get on a bike, and even in just your surrounding local areas, you can find some absolutely amazing places just to go and see. And it really is just, it can be really quite special. You know, it can really it just gets you feeling great at the end of the day.
I think what it is, I think we spoke about it before. Lockdown or 2020 is made, when everything is taken away from you, you find out who you really are. So the things that you know no different to, the things you're doing all the time, when they're taken away from you, you're forced to find new things that keep you in a good place, which is, again, for me, it's been going out on my bike a lot, and I've never done that beforehand. And now I look forward to going out on my bike, because you can seek progression in it, keeps you in a good place. If you find yourself stressed, get out on your bike, go and just get out and see where it takes you, sort of thing. So
yeah, and for me, obviously, as I say, you know, I love the physical activity side of things, and when I come back into a gym environment, and also, you know, in any sort of realm of anything that I do, to be honest, you know, something that really inspires me, helps me feel really positive and really motivated is music. And you know, I think that in relation to my own love of music, I'm not fussy. I can go across all different genres. And to be honest,
me too. Yeah.
I feel like, especially when I go to the gym, that's where it really kicks in. Because, you know, obviously I'm not necessarily listening to chill things when I'm in the gym, but, you know, you can go across a whole tangent of genres when you're in there. And I'm always interested to know, you know, because it can be such a massive thing in the gym, such a massive motivator. Do you, as an individual, listen to the gym when you're in the gym? Do you listen to music when you're in the gym? And sort of alongside that, do you actually maybe share any music with your clients?
Literally nothing worse than training without any music. Like, if you leave your headphones at home, like, workout's done. I'm going home.
It happened last week. My charge ran out, and I knew I just knew, it makes a little noise, and you wait. I've got some big numbers I need to move later, and I know I'm going to struggle.
It's worse when it happens mid-set. You're like, oh, I can't believe that's it. My workout's done. I'm going home. But for me, it's like I've got such a broad spectrum of music that I like. It depends where I'm at, I assume. When I'm driving around, I love my soul, I love my Motown, love a bit of Lighthouse Family, but I don't know, I sing along in the car. People always catch me like
always,
idiot, always, literally. But in the gym, I don't know anything really. I don't really have anything in particular that gets me motivated or anything. I just need something in my ear just to get me through the workout, if that makes sense. But I usually listen to a podcast really. Like if I'm not, I don't know, the way I am right now, if I'm not listening to something that's going to educate me or help me, like I don't, well, for example, with my drive, I always take a podcast on, so, but in the gym, it has to be music, but it's whatever I'm feeling, really. It depends the sort of mood I'm in.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. And, with the podcast, I think that's been obviously podcasts have been around for the longest of times, but it's felt like maybe just naturally through progressions that have happened in the last couple of years, like podcasts have just become, a real essence of how people are actually learning and taking in a lot more information. There's so much to take from it.
Yeah, I feel like if I'm having a long drive or going on a long walk or having a long cycle, I feel like I'm wasting my time if I don't put it in the correct way by listening to something that's gonna help me, educate me, give me some nuggets, some ideas, some knowledge. I usually listen to a podcast whenever I can, really.
Are there any in particular that you go for? Have you got any classics, or do you just sort of go all over the place?
All over the place, yeah. Sometimes a comedy, sometimes it's self-help, self-development. Sometimes it's just two people chatting, listen to a bit of Rogan. Obviously, yeah, his podcasts are they're very long, to be fair, but they are good.
They are long, but I mean, it's
some interesting characters on there.
There are. But as you say, there's so much value in. First of all, you're treating your physical self really well. You're going out for that walk, doing whatever. But then also just that idea of being able to get in there and have a real think about just different concepts. Because I certainly find that some of my best thinking actually happens when either when I'm in the shower or it was find. It's always classic just before you go to bed as well. But then also when you're out
write down straight away. You have to. Otherwise you're going to forget.
Well, I always basically my phone is sat down the side of my bed, and I mean that's actually the conceptualization of the inception of serotonin. I was just literally laying in bed one night, had a thought, and then just started. I had to write it down straight away, or that was disappearing.
I'll forget otherwise. Yeah, I journal every single day. To be fair, that's one thing since the first ever lockdown. I write my to-do list every single day. I don't feel like my day starts unless I do that. Because at the end of the day, if you don't feel like you've achieved anything, you can look back at your list and tick it off and think, actually, you know what, I've done it right today. It's all about these little nuggets that are going to help keep your head in a good place and give you a better day and make you feel like you're achieving something daily, rather than getting caught up in the hustle all the time.
And it might even feel silly to some, but where I sort of sit with that as well, because I'm a to-do list person. I love that, but it's a quick win for me every single morning. Just make my bed. Yeah. Make my bed, because instantly you go, right, okay, I've started that. Even though it is like the most minuscule little thing, something that I always go by, or a premise that I always go by, because you've really got to appreciate the small things. And when you appreciate those small things, and you even with the to-do list, right, it doesn't have to be this absolutely obscene thing that you have to do. But just by saying, hey, by the end of today, I did this and this, haven't quite done this, but it just means that I can push this to tomorrow. Mine's
got all sorts in it. It's like literally just reminding me to do the normal things that I would do anyway. But at least if you look back and think I can tick it off, I've done that. Otherwise, silly little things like, track your calories for today. That's what I would tell my clients. Write that down there, look at it, go for a walk. I even schedule a nap on my to-do list. Because you tick it off, I've done that. It's part of my identity for that day. I've done it. I've achieved something. So important. Your little things will give you the daily dose of happiness. Yeah, they will.
And I mean, and to be honest, that is something that I, alongside some genuine knowledge that I get from your Instagram account, it's the same principle with other bits that I see on there, is that it's just these little tips that you put forward that actually can make such a...
They could be the small difference between someone going from here or to there, or someone being stuck or someone escalating.
Exactly. And it comes back to, the whole idea that I think that your social media account is fantastic, because it can go in some ways with certain people where, it does lose its authenticity. But certainly with your account, especially those stories, man, killing it every single time.
You just have to be yourself, mate.
Yeah,
with
I love
everything you do.
I love it.
Because otherwise, if you're not, then it'll come back and haunt you in ways you will least expect it. Because you get caught out at the end of the day, and just love being myself. I love putting out stupid content. I love creating content. I love knowing that if I put something out there, that could be the difference between someone having a good day, someone having a bad day, someone helping them with something they've been struggling with, and and that fulfills me at the end of the day. And yeah, it's part of me now, so I won't stop.
Please don't.
I won't stop.
There's more to go. Well, I mean, there's a couple more questions that I just to wrap this up. But I mean, man, again, to be honest, I just knew that you were going to be just spitting fire the whole time. Man, it's just, this is why I love doing these conversations, because when you're sat down next to an individual, you can feel the genuine energy that comes from that person, and you're so authentic in what you're saying and what you're doing, because your actions match what you say.
Exactly.
And so many times that isn't the case for certain people. But in relation to your lifestyle, there is something that I know that you love.
I know where this is going.
Yeah, I know. You should know where this is going.
In fact, I've got time for one of them.
Yeah. So my question is, could you survive without your coffee each day?
Oh, you could. If someone put a gun to your head and be like, if you have another coffee, that's it, you're done. All right, then you would. But I don't want to. Like, it makes me so happy. I generally look forward to getting up and having my coffee first thing in the morning, and I crash by about 2 o'clock, just in time for my nap. It works perfectly. It works perfectly.
You've nailed your
I've nailed my
routine.
caffeine crash by about 2 o'clock. I'm like, all right, nap done. Perfect.
And shout out to Curb Collective. See you soon.
The boys.
I know that's
Please open. Please open.
I know that's your fan favourite. You're always rocking that place.
I think it's that part of my routine. I look forward to walking down the river, grabbing my coffee, having a chat to the boys, grabbing my croissant, my almond croissant. I love them. Can't live without them. Woo. Yeah. Don't put a gun to my head for them either, because I won't. I'll cave in.
That's tough. That's tough work, man.
It is. Yeah.
And then just finally, man, because again, you've had such experience in this field, and even just by the conversation that we've been having today, there's so much insight to get from you. And again, I'll ask it selfishly on my own part, but for anyone else that maybe is thinking about entering the fitness world as some form of profession, what would you say is a real key tip or lesson that maybe you've learned during your career that's really worthwhile for someone who's maybe just entering it to take on board?
Don't try and do too much at once. Just you will figure out who you are as a coach, what works as you go along. Don't stress about having everything all figured out right at the start. And like I said, just be yourself, because if you're not, then you won't go very far, because people will figure you out in the end. You won't be able to back up what you're saying or what you're delivering. So yeah, just be yourself, and yeah, you will figure everything out as you go along. I got my qualification, I got my certificate. That is literally all you get, and then they throw you in the deep end. You're like, all right. Then you learn as you go along. You learn what works, what doesn't work, who you want to work with, who you don't want to work with, the ball aches, the happiness, the fulfillment, everything, and it all makes you a part of your identity of who you are, and wouldn't change it for the world. End of the day, got a job that I love, and yeah, I'll continue doing it. Yeah.
Well, man, I've been inspired by it.
It's been great to talk, Matt. Pleasure having me on. Thank you.
Oh no, honestly, thank you so much, man. Again, I knew just from everything that I've seen, that from what you've been doing, I knew that it was just so worthwhile us having a conversation, because again,
it needs to happen. A long time coming.
It has been a long time coming. Yeah, man. And again, it's just great to hear that you are so driven and motivated to be a positive individual, and also have that impact on your clients.
Being positive is a choice. Like, end of the day, that's just who I am, and I don't want to be anyone else. And yeah, hopefully my energy will make everyone else feel the same.
Man,
hopefully.
It will. So again, Sam, thank you so much.
Welcome, thank you for having me on. Appreciate it.
Been wicked. It's been so good.
Keep doing your thing as well.
Thank you very much, mate. Now, if you want to see any more of content from us or from Sam, we're going to take the new route now. We're going to throw some graphics up at the bottom of the screen. This is week 2. Now, I currently haven't actually made these things yet.
Jamie, pull that up.
That's it. Just sort that out. Bam. Just throw that in there. But yeah, if you want to see any more content like this, then please follow us on Serotonin Sessions, or follow Sam Bowen on his Instagram.
Sam Bowen PT.
Sam Bowen PT. There it is. But for now, we hope you have a lovely week, and we'll see you later on.
Stay happy.